Hello there. Today I'd like to talk about some of the pitfalls you're likely to encounter when you get a literary agent. Now, I know for many of you that might seem like an impossibly distant prospect, but these are hopefully useful questions for you to have asked yourself when that happy day arrives and you do get an agent or several agents showing an interest. So other than establishing that they are indeed a proper reputable literary agent, I think one of the first questions to ask is what kind of an agent are they? Are they principally a deal maker, or do they see themselves as having a more nurturing role? Most agents are nurturing to some degree, but there are also some who really want product they can sell, and they're not very interested in putting in time to editorially to develop you, and that's something I think is really worth knowing. And once you've kind of established where they are on that spectrum, also find out what their working practice is. There are people who like to deliver their manuscripts chapter by chapter as they write them over a period of many months, and personally I find that very, very difficult. By the time I get to chapter 9, I've forgotten what was in chapter 1, and also I've got no idea whether the feedback I'm giving for chapter 9 is actually even consistent with the feedback I was giving for chapter 1. It all feels too diffuse. So find out how they like to work, because that way you'll get the most enthusiasm from them and the best work from them and the best value from them. And then scrolling forward, you've got this wonderful polished manuscript, and they go out and they do sell it and they get a deal, and it's all very exciting. And I think that's, for me, this is where the real work begins, because that's the point at which it's possible to really conceive of a writing career, and that's the kind of the most difficult thing to achieve. Longevity is very, very hard in this business. And one of the kind of key determinants for longevity, other than talent and hard work and application and luck and all the things that one needs, are whether you are an author who is capable of managing your relationship with the publisher. And there are some, because unless you're so enormously successful that you can behave as badly as you like, and there are authors who fall into that category, naming no names, but unless you like that, the ability to get on with the publisher is very, very important. Their goodwill really matters. But at the same time, it's a relationship that's pretty fraught. And there are going to be moments when tensions will be high. And you will feel that this great big corporate behemoth is bullying you, the little individual author. And that can make people feel very cross. And so the moment that you are thinking of picking up the phone or sending off that flamer of an email to whoever it might be at the publishing company, that is possibly the key moment to call your agent, because they can either explain to you why it is that now is not the time to have a fight, or say, great, I will have that fight on your behalf, because it doesn't really matter if people hate the agents. Publishers are sort of predisposed. They like the idea of disliking agents. Agents are there to be a lightning rod for negative emotions. Use them for that. It's an incredibly important part of managing what is and will always be a relationship that can have some real highs, but is going to have some tensions and lows and stresses. And then, assuming that's all worked well, you get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books in, and things are going really well, and you're making money, and then the advances are going up, and the sales are going up, and you start inevitably, this is completely natural, to think, I'm giving all that commission to my agent, and what are they now doing? It's all a bit easy, isn't it? They just kind of ring, the new deal happens, and it's just kind of, hey, it just happens like that. They don't really have to do anything for it. And I think that's very understandable, but it's really worth remembering the hard work that they put in at the beginning of this process, which was unpaid. It's also really, really worth remembering that writing careers are intensely fragile, and so much can go wrong. And as success builds, so does the pressure to deliver. And that means that if crises happen in your life, divorces, bereavements, whatever it might be, illness, the publishers get less and less sympathetic about that. You know, the more they've got invested in you, the less they care. You know, the more they're relying on you delivering the book. So the fact that something's happened, which means you think I need another year to write it, that can be a real problem. Likewise, your editor can move companies or leave the business or go on maternity leave or whatever it might be, and suddenly you've got a new editor who you don't feel the same kind of rapport with, and your last book didn't sell quite so well, and you get the sense that suddenly enthusiasm's draining away, and it's not going so well, and suddenly you're in trouble, or your career's in trouble. And so it's really important to maintain and retain your agent, particularly I think your original agent, who is the person who would have seen you through all of this and who has the most invested in you and who will fight hardest on your behalf. Because there almost always is a time, even in the most great success, when an agent will need to fight on your behalf. So there we go. That's a sort of survey of some fairly simple things that I think will help you get the most out of your agent, and I hope that's useful. Thanks very much. Bye.